Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whenever you are. Welcome to the community live stream. My name is Chuck Tomasi from ServiceNow. This is January 24th, 2020, and I am here to bring you not only the answers in the community, but the answers behind the answers, the thought process, the journey of discovery, the look at how things are built and what goes on in the reverse engineering that makes you a better administrator and developer. So you can take what you learn here, not just the answers, but the how, that learning, that deep insight, that analytical thinking. So that's the goal of this show, and it's great to see you. Good morning, Carol. Good to see you. We have a lot of people watching live on YouTube. That would be this link. There we go. I do have the buttons at my disposal again, so it should be easier theoretically, but this show never fails to pose a challenge. You can watch live on YouTube. I try to do this at 2 p.m. UTC on the days where I'm home and healthy and no other conflicts. So this is a labor of love, as is the community. I love the ServiceNow community and the people that we work with in there, whether it's local or global or whatever expertise. Everybody brings something to that party. Thank you very much. And this is just a small piece of it that I invite you to watch, subscribe, click like if you find something helpful or useful, helps other people. Turn on that notification so that you get those notifications. Much like, let's see if it'll work today. I heard the alert. There they are, YouTube and Twitch, both happening. So streams are up, people are joining. Good morning, Drew. Good morning, Jaroslaw and Mark. Good to see you. Hey, everybody's having a good time, and you can watch that on YouTube. Let's go on. We know about YouTube. We know about Twitch. Twitch is my backup plan if you've got that. The community is the place where you want to go if you've got questions about ServiceNow. That's what's right behind me, and that's where we'll be doing most of the show today, is out of there. So congratulations to the MVPs. I'll get to that in just a second. Thank you very much, John. Thanks, Mark. It's truly an honor to be among such wonderful, wonderful people, because without people asking questions, there wouldn't be much of a community, right? So I'd have... well, let's just say I'd have a little more free time if I was doing it that way, if you weren't contributing and asking and doing that wonderful interaction. That's what our community is all about. I have been online in communities for about 35 years. It's a long time. I started back in the old electronic bulletin board days, ran a bulletin board, even co-engineered and constructed a bulletin board software. So that building of community is very important to me, whether it's a local one like I did 35 years ago or on a global scale like this. It's something I truly believe in, and makes the world a better place, makes your jobs easier, and having a great time. Good morning, Alan and Andre. Everybody's joining in. Thank you very much. TGIF to everybody. That's toes going first. Put that on your shoes. Now thank goodness it's Friday, right? It's the end of the week. Haven't checked with Andrew yet. I suspect there will be a live coding happy hour later today if you happen to be online and awake for that. So the community is where you want to go for that. I also encourage you to go over to the developer portal. Yes, it's true. Orlando is now available. Let's see if it comes up. It still says upgrade to New York on the banner, but I can tell you Orlando is available. I got the message yesterday, said, hey, you can upgrade to Orlando. And if you go into manage instance, if you've got a personal developer instance, you can see mine's now on Orlando. Woohoo! And one of the actions down here would be upgrade to Orlando. It says, you're already on Orlando. It's funny because shortly after upgrading, I got a notice that says your upgrade to New York patch 4 hotfix 1A failed. Like, I should hope so. I just upgraded to Orlando. Why would I want to go backwards? So at least we know the version checking has got some sanity in there. So free personal developer instance, you can now test out Orlando. Pradeep has put out a great article of all the changes that have come out in Orlando, and I'll be talking about some of those as we go along. Lots of great content today, whether it's Flow Designer or Integration Hub or APIs, or there's so much good content. I tend to focus this show around the platform. and developers. That's where my expertise is. If you're looking for other content in the community similar to this, we do have a DevOps podcast. We do have open hours for performance analytics and reporting. So there are other venues emerging, and I'd love to see more of them come out for SecOps and ITSM, and there's all kinds of help. So I am working with the community team to foster those ideas. Some of it is budget related, so we gotta work within the constraints of that, but we will work to get that going. So personal developer instances, free learning plans, blog. Oh, speaking of blog, over here on the blog, on this column, ta-da! The blog now has Orlando is released. You can find out information there too. Andrew posted that, and he's got a rundown of lots of great stuff in there as well. The mobile administration, analytics, and reporting, just good stuff. Let me make that just a wee bit smaller, not bigger. There we go. You can upgrade. Oh, should say upgrade to Orlando. I'm not sure what happened to a screenshot here. We also have other blog entries for our ServiceNow developer MVPs. You know, while I'm here, let's do a congratulations on that. We have 2 MVPs. You probably saw one at the banner of the community. We have the community MVPs. This program has been running for quite some time. Only recently did it start including employees. So I am honored to be among the MVPs. And the awardees are available here. Congratulations to a lot of these great people. So much contribution. Waiting for the images to load. Alan and Alakuti, Mike, I'm not going to go through and read them all. There's some familiar names in here that you've seen for a while. Stephen Bell. Goran is now an employee for ServiceNow. That's what the little green circle-y icon means next to it. Michael Ritchie, Brian, Pradeep, Jace. Some of these are familiar names. A lot of new names in here. So congratulations to you people for making this. I'm going to put the announcement away so I get a little more banner space. Michael Fry, some veterans in here as well. Thank you. Lots of comments coming in. Congratulations to everybody. You truly make this a wonderful, wonderful community. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts, bottom of my heart, that you are out there putting yourself, donating your free time, donating your knowledge and expertise to get that going. The other one is our developer MVPs. We have a new program that's closely aligned with the community MVPs, and some of these people may look familiar, but wanted to say these are people that are contributing in other ways than just the community. There's developer meetups. There's knowledge and CreatorCon. It's a wider variety, and we will be looking to these people to help scale out how we send the messaging about the developer program, getting people involved. So we hope to have a good partnership with these developer MVPs. So it says these people write blogs, share apps, craft videos, live stream, contribute to social media. There's more than just contributing to the community. But again, some of these are familiar names: Jim Coyne, Jace Benson, Earl Duke. But there's some other ones that we don't really see too much. And notice no employees on here as well. So I am not part of the developer MVP program. So how are they chosen? Are you inspired? Maybe you could be a 2021 developer MVP. Keep your eye out for that. There's questions and answers. That's in the blog on developer.servicenow.com. You can find that. And of course, more stuff on the developer site includes the events, meetups coming up. Hope Minneapolis and who was it? Charleston had one last night, or was it somewhere? I can't remember now. But we had a couple last night. This weekend, New Delhi's coming up. Boston next Monday. So we've got developer meetups coming up all over the world. If you want to be part of that scene, go over to meetup.com. where you and about 21,000 and a half of your closest friends can be part of the developer community. All over the world, you can see we've got 63 chapters and growing all the time. We have an intern whose job is nothing but managing and organizing and keeping things sane, sending out those reimbursement checks, that kind of thing. So thank you very much for the people who organize that. And if there isn't one in your area and you are interested in becoming a ServiceNow developer meetup organizer, certainly send us a message and we can look into that and help you get that started, get the content going. Mark, Dude, you're on both lists. That's so awesome. So congratulations to everybody on that. What comes after Meetup? Anybody remember? The events. Just have to push the button. You can find more events like Snugs and special interest groups and webinars, all that kind of information over at servicenow.com/events.html, one of which is, of course, Knowledge coming up May 3rd through 7th. I believe the early bird pricing is still in effect. Don't quote me on that, but go to knowledge.servicenow.com and find out. You can save yourself a couple $100. It is only, who's got the count? It is only, let's see, it's my mom's birthday. We don't need that. Knowledge is only 99 days away. And some odd hours. I don't put the hours on there. So 99 days. It's time for my brain to start going into panic mode. I have to write have to write some content today. It's actually going to be part of the builder track, the application we're going to build and use as the core of that. Kind of like a cooking show. I've got to get my volunteers together next week to say, hey, here's what we're going to build and here's what we're building upon, to give you an idea. Like, I'll show you the finished product, sort of, except they're going to build out and build on that. So a lot of no-code capabilities. The builder track is coming back. If you've got people in your organization that are no-code personas, those process owners, the power users, people who know what their process is that just need to build an application, kill a spreadsheet and get onto ServiceNow so they have a system of record and a system of workflow that they can drive that process. Bring them to Knowledge, get them in the builder track, get them hands-on experience, and they will go, oh, wow, didn't realize it was that easy to get off a spreadsheet and get onto a real system and build this thing out. Like I said, I was doing this Tuesday, Wednesday with one of our marketing campaign people, the budget finance lady. We were building that application. We're going to go through it today. I imported some sample data for her, so we've got 126 records to play with. But she's going to look at this and go, wow, now can you make it do this? You know that's coming. There's going to be UI policies galore in this thing. Hey, if no PO was requested, then why do we have a PO field? Let's hide that thing. So we'll do things like that. All right, put that away. We are going to move on to, where were we going? After Knowledge comes webinars. That's right. We've got another webinar coming up on the 18th. Tech Now Tuesday, learn all about Studio. This is our built-in IDE. So if you're new to ServiceNow, you may want to take a stop off here, learn some things. If you're new, if you've been around ServiceNow for a while, well, there may be some tricks you just might learn. There's little things that, I don't know about you, but I'm one of these people that tend to use an application and use it the same way fairly often until someone points out a new menu option. That happened this week. Somebody was showing me something on ScreenFlow, which I use for doing screen captures and video editing and whatnot. And they said, hey, what about that icon? I said, I've been using this application for 10 years and I have never seen that icon. And it's been there for quite a while and it's coming in very handy. So you may learn something new. You can teach an old dog new tricks. I'm evidence of that. Any script we write today, and there may be some, I highly anticipate there will be some, will be stored off on GitHub in this repository from the bit.ly link, bit.ly/sn-cls. That's ServiceNow Community Livestream. You can find it there in a dated folder. It would be 2020-01-24 with some dashes in there. So this is the 24th of January. I don't know what I said at the beginning, but I'm trying to get into the groove of what year, month, and day it is. It's hard sometimes. It's hard. Okay, let's go. I think that's it. Well, you guys know about the no-code apps for dummies, right? Been out there for a while. Go to the bit.ly link, download a free PDF, ebook, and share that with your no-code personas in your organization. And if you are a little more, you want to back up to scripting, and you want to get started on that, I've got a video series for that as well. 2019 was busy. Let's see what 2020 brings on. So let's move on to the community now that we've gone through all that fun and games. Actually, before I do that, I want to do a couple more things. I did congratulate our 2020 community MVPs. We did our developer MVPs. And as I mentioned, Orlando is now available. We have a blog article out on that. I don't know if I mentioned this or not. I said Pradeep has an article. I'll show you that link in just a minute. All of these links will be available in the notes on the video I post very, very shortly after I get done with this video. So within 30 minutes of this video being conducted and I say Bye, everybody, at 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. By 8:30, I've got the notes processed, the YouTube video up, the community posted, the links for everything we talked about. So you can find all this quite easily on the community, about the community, that kind of thing. So the link for this one is in developer.servicenow.com. Go to the blog articles and you will see over on the the left, it says Orlando now available for developer instances, personal developer instances, This is part of our early access program. We've got APIs for CI/CD capabilities. Woohoo! We've got some studio enhancements. We've got ATF, Flow Designer, Integration Hub, Agent Workspace, CMDB. We got mobile capabilities that have come in. We can now do branding. We can now do photo search. We can now do mobile application management. Virtual Agent has some new stuff in it. NLU, we can clone models and compare and clone entities and clone the whole model. It's pretty cool stuff. If you are part of the developer program, you should have received or will receive today a newsletter. Okay, you only get this if you're part of the developer program. It will have a link to a special Tech Now next Tuesday. That's why I haven't seen it coming up on this show, because it's for the developers. Part of the developer program, you get this extra special content because developers have early access. If you don't have early access, then I can't share this with you until general availability, which is in March, and then I'll open up the same video to the public. So Tech Now Tuesday next week is for the developers only. So watch for that newsletter if you haven't already seen it. Check your junk, check your spam folder. There's a link in there for Tech Now Tuesday on the 28th of January, where we will go through a lot of this information together. Then in February, we'll do Studio. In March, we're planning on doing the Now Platform CI/CD stuff. And then April is going to be too close to Knowledge to actually pull together some decent content. May will be at Knowledge. And then June, we're coming back with some more Tech Now. So I'm going to blink twice and we'll be preparing for Paris. That's pretty much it. We just seem to hop from thing to thing to thing. It's going to be Orlando, then Knowledge, then Paris, then Now at Work. And it's just... And there's even some things in there that I'm not even involved with. So it's crazy town around here, to give you an idea why we're so busy and why I have so much fun doing this instead. All right. One article that I do want to follow up on, and that is somebody asking, how do you restrict the IT role? They said, hey, if I purchased 100 licenses for ITSM, I want to make sure that I don't overdo that. This was down in a comment on an older conversation. So let me show all the replies, and I was going to write a little script to help out with this. My suggestion, let's see, it was a short one. Let me see if I can find it. Sadly group by, role IT reference. There's a recent one 3 hours ago. Hi all, can anyone guide me how to restrict no more itil roles to be granted to users of this count crosses certain values? Now my first question is, I'm not an expert on subscription management, but I thought there was a table that said, here's how much you bought of this. And not being a real instance, it's a personal developer instance, doesn't have any subscription management entries in here, but end date display only purchased, allocated. This should do this for you. So I want to put in two parts. One, check your subscription management. That will tell you, and you could put a business rule against that. I don't know that I would necessarily prevent someone from getting ITIL access because it could preclude you from getting some real work done. But a warning wouldn't be bad. If you had purchased, I wish I had some real entry in here. Maybe somebody can give me some sample data of what records I'm looking for. You've probably purchased ITSM. What do those fields and values look like? I can't really force an entry in here because I can't do a new, because it's all managed on the back end. When you purchase something, it gets into your instance automatically, and then when you allocate it, it does it that way. So this is hard to say without some actual real data. But what I could do is get the fields out of configure dictionary or configure table. Let's do configure dictionary. Table's called license details, and let's sort it by column name. Allocated And there's probably another one called purchased. Yes? No? No. Interesting. What was that field called? This is probably just the sys table count. Tables used, table count, allocated, auto sync, category count. It's probably just count. I'm taking a wild guess on this. So if you know how many you counted, in fact, let's check the label on this. In the production instance, there is a checkbox to not allow issuing more licenses than purchased. Ta-da! All right, John has this one. I'm going to respond back with that very, very good answer. Oops, I got to find the post. Simple. There it is. Subscription management has a feature to not allow you to... I'm also going to look in the doc site. Not that I don't trust you, but I want to give a reference to this that says subscription management. And, ooh, my first Orlando link that I get to put in here. With ServiceNow subscription management, application review and manage how your subscriptions are used. To the production instance, subscriptions are downloaded to production instances only and not to development and QA instances. So let's copy that link out. Give a reference. Another option would be to write a business rule on sysuser has role and compare it against that number. Oh, pardon me, I got the hiccups now. To allocate more than you have purchased for the given entry, like ITSM. Let's put that link in. Another option would be to write a business rule on sysuser has role. When a record is inserted, you can compare it. Compare it against the count field on, what was the title? License something something? License details. The license details. Oh, a plural table. They get one of these from me. I do not like tables with plural names on them. Although in this case, details is about the record, so I'm letting this one slide. Don't make plural tables. You don't want a sad trombone. Table. To do a glide aggregate of a certain role against, like IT, they wanted itil specifically, against the count field and produce a warning message if you exceed it. That would not be, I'm gonna leave it alone. Leave it alone. Let's say, oh, can you help me write that script? The answer is yes, yes I can, but I'm not gonna do it right now. So we'll see if they come back with a request. That's a follow-up. Thank you, John, for that information. Let's go back to the community. We'll do a couple more articles, and then I've got a topic that I wanted to get into. You probably saw it on my notes. Let's get into the unreplied. How to remove campaign targets from campaign. Do we have campaigns in here? What is campaign part of? We are working on campaigns with 4 roles, for example, A, B, C, and D. Role A will have visibility to widget X, Y, Z. Role B will have P, Q, and R. When we have a campaign for role A and publish it, scheduled job content automation add users to campaigns will run and add users to a campaign. However, if a user from role A is given a new role, this will not remove the user from campaign unless it is finished or canceled. What's the requirement here? I'm seeing a problem, but I'm not seeing a solution. When we have a campaign with role A and publish it, scheduled job will run and the user. However, if role A is given the new role, this will not remove the user from campaign unless it's finished or canceled. Okay, so what's the problem? What is the desired goal? Do you want campaign A and B mutually exclusive? So adding to A removes from B and adding to B removes from A. Let's get some clarification on that. I don't know that that's necessarily a good idea. But questions count. I responded. Type ahead on task numbers. I'm configuring type ahead templates and search sources, and my requirement is to have type ahead on task numbers, e.g. inc 000 by searching only words, I think that should be words, not works, with the exact task number. Is there a way to enable type ahead to populate when entering a partial number? Type ahead on task numbers. Is it a reference field? If this is a reference field, they said search sources and something else. Type ahead templates and search sources. I don't know a whole lot about type ahead templates. Type ahead templates. The number is going to be create an advanced type ahead template. Let's go learn something new today. Complete the required fields and define search source. In the Type Ahead tab for the search source record, select Advanced Type Ahead Config checkbox. In the Type Ahead template field, add an HTML template. The example uses AngularJS bindings to display service catalog items in the Type Ahead results, which is wickedly, horribly formatted. Maybe it's because of font size? Nope. It's just wickedly ugly formatted. Okay. Click Update, Type Ahead, Display Behind, That gets you Apple. So, it's giving you the display value. What do they want? Is there a way to enable Type Ahead to populate when entering a partial number? Looks like from the docs that this will work on a box because the example given for catalog items is using the display value. The display value for tasks is the number field by default. Have you given it a try? I'm going to quote that. Now that I know what the context is, it kind of makes sense. There. Didn't say it's not working. Just says, is there a way to do it? All right. Public service, download zip files through REST API from external source database, embed a chart in a form. I thought we had embedded charts already available. Trying to embed a chart in a form that shows the number of child tasks associated with a record in a pie chart. Managed to create the chart, but is it possible to put a condition on the chart in the form to only look at child tasks where the current record is present? Is it possible to put a condition on the chart in the form to only look at child tasks where the current record is parent? That's a good question. That's a great question. Let's look at embedded charts. Embedded charts, or is it called form charts? I can't remember. Install SLA breakdown, import reports with Jelly, enable embedded to embedded reports in Jelly, and follow embedded Jelly code. Ooh. Really? I thought you could just put them in there. Let's find out what this page says. Enabling embedding. G inline tab report includes XML. Embedding existing reports. You can then embed reports. So your Jelly code will look like this. And I suspect you have to have a formatter in there as well. You can embed the JavaScript in the Jelly code. Target, span, report, generate an embedded report. So if the report is getting a sysid, how do you pass the parent record to that report? Doesn't look like you can pass any parameter. The jQuery element to the embed to the chart uses the size of the element, the sysid of the report you want to embed. Are you using this method? Let's find out. Let's get a link. Find out. Are you using this method to embed a chart in the form? Paste that. If so, I don't see a way to pass any arguments, e.g. current.sysid, to the report to act as a filter. Let me know if you are doing a different way. Are using a different way. All right. Boom. Shane asks, I thought Jelly was going away. Jelly is not going away. We're just not going to use it as much anymore. There's a strategic direction to move the interface, the desktop interface, away from Jelly, but it's still going to be there. You can always use the classic interface. That's what you see when you look at this right here. These are Jelly forms and templates, and lists are made out of Jelly, UI macros. So anything you've built will continue to work. We're just aware that it is a legacy technology. It's getting very, very old. Skill set is getting harder to find on that. And it's not the way that the UI is going to look in the future. So stay tuned for details on that. Let's do a refresh. And better list collector for Portal. Has anybody made one? Creating a record producer for my end users in Portal. However, there is a field where users need to select a lot of values, like the CMDB. I'm using the list collector for now, but it's not very convenient for selecting like 30 objects. Works perfectly outside the Portal, but in Portal, it's simply a text field with autocomplete. Ew. How can I achieve that? My goal is having something like a real list collector from the back end and using it in the Portal. My first inclination is to look at share. Let's look at share. See if there's anything in here. Portal. It could be called list collector. It could hierarchical department picker to use as catalog variable macro. How about Portal slush bucket? Nope. How about list collector? How about widget? Hierarchical department. If you need your users to select, you're gonna have to work on that one or more departments in a catalog item, and you want to present it to them in a hierarchical list, then this is the widget for you. No. Let's look at Service Portal widgets specifically, see if there's anything in there. Get rid of the filter. Okay, Service Portal widgets, Virtual Agent Service Portal widget with side nav, extension. How many records do we have? Sometimes fun to look through and see what's out here. Extension to drag and drop attachments, multi-button widget with header. It uses the out-of-the-box link button widget with a base, expands, and you can have up to 12 buttons. Back to top functionality. SP bookmark record. Report widget redirect. Page tab widget. SP task context. Guided tour overlay. Nope. It's only showing like 5 at a time. This is annoying. System status, drag and drop attachments, change password, TOS, weather widget. Weather widget. I'd have to play with that. Parallax, service portal widget to do data transformations, approval record, approve a comment, clone widget comparison. Something, I wonder if there's one out of the box that we're just missing that we just haven't seen yet. Got to get past all my community links here. Let's go widget. Service portal widgets. See if there is something in here that has a name involving list. See, unless the simple list, publication list, HRM session list, listo, knowledge list, template, skey, GG, HR, empty task, unordered list respond. Not seeing anything. How about slush? Slush bucket, look at that. There is a slush bucket widget. This record is in global. Okay. There is a slush bucket widget on a box. Have you looked into using that? I wonder if our docs have that. That's not the docs. Slowly losing track of where I'm going with the with these tabs. I can only handle about 7 or 8 tabs at a time. Slush bucket widget. Maybe? No. Split buckets. Bucket assignment. Create and modify buckets. That's referring to performance analytics. That should have a question mark on it. There's that one. What else? Having a lot of fun. Let's go to unreplied again. See if there's something new that's come in 11 minutes ago. Multiple catalog UI policies on same field. Ooh. Ooh, good luck. I've created a record producer that will allow users to enter up to 6 entries. At the start of the form, I ask how many entries they would like and make, and then have multiple catalog UI scripts based on the value of their response. Just for testing purposes, I have created 2 UI policies so far, and it's not working as required. The behavior I'm seeing is that if I select 1 as an option, variables for 2 and 3 are hidden. That's expected. However, if I select 2, all 3 sets of variables are being displayed unexpectedly. So effectively, it looks like the second UI policy isn't being triggered. Yeah, this might be a case where you want to get into maybe a better case for a client script that handles all cases. UI policies do have an order field, so you can run one over the other. You should also look at building your condition in the UI policy based on the field value. e.g. UI policy 1 condition if count is 1, then run just this one. UI policy 2 condition count is 2 to show field 1 only. Count is 2, then show fields 1 and 2, and so on. They didn't really explain what they've tried, so taking a stab and saying, here's what I would do. I haven't done a lot of code yet. I want to write something. Okay, download zip files. Let's take a look at what was my idea for later. TableUtils. We're going to write something. Came up just before the holiday break, if you took a holiday break. And they said, look, I'm getting a list of all the tables and I want to find out how many classes have what number of records in them. But I want to get rid of the ones with the zeros, okay? Or it's actually leaving out the zeros. So they gave me a script and I said, okay, you're doing a glide aggregate. This is what they were trying. Let's take this over to my personal developer instance. That's not it. This is it. And let's go to global scripts background and try this. Now, glide aggregate is much like glide record. You give it a table and it says, I want to count, I want to do min, max, average, whatever those built-in database functions are to get some values out of the database, not the metadata itself, but the data about the metadata. They're doing a count. Let me make that a little bigger for you. In fact, let's do this in VS Code. Then this will be easier to do. I have not yet installed the ServiceNow extension on this. Don't ask me why. I just don't visit this machine except for this point in my day. Create a new script, paste that in, and it says, go get me a glide aggregate on the CMDB CI table. And then I want to count, but I'm going to order by the count and group by sys class name, which is the class. So they're going through the hierarchy, and let's see what they get. And he gets AIX has 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, but there's no zeros in here. It's only counting where it has a number. And I said, there's no if statement in here. That's odd. So I came up with a solution for them that said, nope, that's not it. Here we go. I said, that's because glide aggregate is only counting records. It'd be a bit like saying, see all these houses in this city? Count the number and group them by color. If there are no polka dot houses, you won't get a count because there's nothing to physically count. It's not like saying it's one of the categories I want, but it's not one of the categories you're telling me about. What you need is a list of all classes, then say, how many records does each class have? Sort of like what color houses you specify when you're counting. I suggested using TableUtils, but then ran into something very interesting. First of all, TableUtils is global only. TableUtils is a built-in, out-of-the-box script include that system definition script includes, and it's got some handy stuff in it. Equals TableUtils. If you haven't used this before, take a look at it. It's got functions to, probably wouldn't use drop to my TableUtils, not drop. Not a good idea. Find out if a table exists, is it a valid field. You can, some of my favorites are the ones that have to do with the hierarchy. So lots and lots of functions in here. Take a look, see what might be useful to you. More tools for your toolbox. There are get tables, return an array of table names in the table parent hierarchy. It returns an array list. Get table extensions, returns an array of table extensions. I think that's the one that I suggested. Get all extensions, which includes the base table. Get absolute base. So if you've got a table and you say, hey, what's the parent of this? What's the base of SC task, for example? It'll say task. It doesn't matter how deep into that thing you are. It'll find that. So other things, but here's the kicker. This is the part that confused me at first. Where did my article go? Here it is. I suggested using get table extensions. And when I went to my personal developer instance, which is around here somewhere, and I said gs.info list. I said, print that out. Oh, look, it's an array. Should be easy enough to use, right? Some of you may have done this and know where I'm going with this. I said, what is list.length? How many tables are in there? I got a list of tables that said undefined. I went, what? It's an array. Look closely at this array. Look very closely. There's a space after the comma. Why is that significant? Because if you were to do a normal array in JavaScript. Var A1 equals, okay, Chuck, Steve, Larry, Deepak. Okay, just put some things into an array and then say gsinfo A1. No spaces, not even a bracket. There's something different about this array. Then it dawned on me. This is a Java array. There are still some of the out-of-the-box functions, like TableUtils. I think ArrayUtils is one of them also, that are returning Java objects. Not JavaScript objects, Java objects. This was not covered in my JavaScript series for good reason, because I don't want you to use them. But if you should run into one of these, there is a function. Let's do this. There is a function called J2JS, I believe it is. J2JS list. Okay, so let's do that. Then gs.info A1. If it's not right, I'm going to go look it up. And now, look, no brackets, no spaces. This is a JavaScript array. It converts the Java object to a JavaScript object. Very nice, very useful. Now I can do a for loop over that thing. And the answer that I gave in here isn't quite right because I had to do a response that said, this list.length isn't going to work. Okay. So that's where I came back. You could also do a toArray. So J2JS or toArray is another one. I think I like toArray. It's a little more readable. And I said, this is where I discovered what was going on. Then you could put this in a list. Now put your glide aggregate inside of the loop, not outside, because what they did is tried it outside the loop. I think it was, no. Okay. And you will get code that looks like this. I'm going to put this in here. Then I'm going to put it in here. Nope, that one. Okay, going through this together. Get a new TableUtils object. Get all the table extensions from that, convert it to a JavaScript array. I print out the length just to say it's a decent length, not undefined. Then I go through each element with a for loop, do a glide aggregate over that table name in that entry to get the count and say how many records are in this table. It's a very simple, common glide aggregate operation. How many records are in this table? That's what glide aggregate is for. If you tried doing this with a glide record and used get row count, you would be killing yourself on performance. Get row count is not scalable. Say it again. Glide record, get row count is not scalable. You may say, but Chuck, it works fine. It's fast. It's great for 5 records. If I'm counting the records in my CMDB with get row count and I have, say, 4 million CIs, you're going to be there a while. It has to retrieve all of the records. It literally says, how many records are in this table? And then goes through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and counts them in memory. Okay? That's what glide record does. It retrieves records. Glide aggregate, on the other hand, uses the built-in database functions. If you're familiar with SQL, it would do a select count star from table name if you wanted a count of those records. I did a time of this probably 8 years ago and said, how long does it take to count 2 million records with get row count? And it said, about 4 seconds. How long does it take to count 2 million records with glide aggregate? It said, about 3 milliseconds. Doubled the number of records. Get row count doubled the time. Glide aggregate did not. So glide aggregate is much more scalable. The only reason to use get row count for a situation like this is if you're going to be manipulating the records anyway, if you need to update them, if you need to see some value in that record, then glide record is going to be, but be aware, if you've got a lot of records, it's going to take a lot of time. Glide aggregate is faster for just counting. Let's run it. And it says in my paltry little database, I have 705 tables. Woohoo! Yes, the CMDB database has a lot. But it's also showing me all the tables, and because it's counting the records in each specific table, it says, here's the deal. Now, you've got zeros in a lot of these. But check out, I think it's CMDB CI server. Spell it right. There's CMDB CI server. It has 40 entries. If I go to CMDB CI server, notice that it's not only counting its own records, but it's counting the child records too. Because in this table, make this a little wider so you can see it, I have the class, and if I say show matching on server, there are only 19 that are technically in server. The rest are in like Linux server, Unix server. So that's a caveat of using this method. There's no way that I know that says, hey, glide record, only count the ones that are in this specific class. Maybe somebody's got a craftier solution. So that was the caveat I gave them with that. They said, that's fine. At least I know, I answered their question that there were no records in some of those other tables. Okay, so that was a follow-up that I wanted to do from that post a couple of weeks ago. Let's go back to the community, see if there's anything in the inbox, aside from congratulations to the MVPs, which have been coming in all day. We have Better List Collector for Portal from Cesar. And I said, have you tried this? I said, hey, yeah, it could work with a custom filter text. I'll look into that. Thanks for the reply. Helpful. Let me know what you find. Multiple catalog UI policies on the same field. I have created a record producer. That's what this show is all about. I didn't know if there was a list collector portal, but if you do a little digging around, you might be able to find one. Created a record producer. Here's the record producer where they wanted to pick multiple things with the UI policy. And it says John replied to this, but I don't see. Oh, no. It says Daniel posted. This is that quirk of the community that's going on right now where you find out somebody posted something you already replied to. Wacky. Okay, we already did that. Real quick, we got a few more minutes. Want to find out what's happening. Wow, a jelly question that was asked and answered very quickly. How did I not see this? I want to read into it. We had some jelly code of the UI macro UI format that is allowing for users to click it twice before the form is reloaded. I can think of several potential ideas, except solution was, I think your best would be a counter or some other setter combined with the check in your function. So here's the button, onclick. Here's the JavaScript function. Counter is 1, otherwise increment the counter. Interesting. Several potential areas, additional info. Problem is I'm trying to solve is that when the button is clicked, notification is sent and form reloads, but users have clicked the button twice, sending duplicate notifications. Fun. You gotta love customizations, don't you? Logging raw REST data in scripted REST API inbound. I do this all the time. Scripted REST APIs are fun. They give you total control over the inputs and the outputs and the way it's processed. I have an inbound scripted REST API and developed an integration with another system. The system will be sending transactional data to ServiceNow periodically. The issue I'm having is I want to capture the raw JSON from the REST message, and they've got body is request body, tdate is the transaction date.body.data, and they're trying to do body data string. But if that's an object, what you want is a JSON stringify. Josh Nereus, who is one of our employees, responded to this and said, JSON parse request string. So request string is the body data string, not body.data string. Wait a minute. He understood it, apparently. The request stream can only be read once. Dot walking into request.body.data implicitly reads the body and parses it into an object. When you subsequently try to access the string, it's no longer available, and vice versa. If you go for the data string first, try something like this. Okay. I gotcha. When in doubt, I usually do a JSON.stringify and dump things out. So he's got transaction, then gets the transaction date, then gets request string, which is the whole string. Oh, okay. So it comes in as a string. And like you said, it's implicitly parsed into an object once it's read. That doesn't seem right. I would rather say, you know what? All responses and requests are strings. You deal with it. But we're saving you from doing an occasional parse and stringify. Good to note. I find that helpful as well. All right. I am coming up on the top of the hour. Let's see if we can sneak one more in here. What could be the reason if gform setDisplay is not working, but setVisible is working? So there's a difference, as you're probably aware. I'm going to go to the glide form. Good question to end on, rather than digging up a new conversation. Glide form has different methods. This is how the client scripts interact with the form. There are two very, very similar functions. One is called setDisplay, which displays or hides a field. This method can hide a mandatory field with no value. If the field is hidden, the space is used to display other items. Whenever possible, use a UI policy instead of this method. That's a good point. So setDisplay says, I've got 4 fields lined up, and if the client script hides this one, the other 2 move up, and now you see 3 fields. setVisible is slightly different. It says displays or hides the field. On the desktop UI, the space is left blank when hidden. So 1, 2, 3, 4, if you hide number 2, then you see 1 blank 3, 4. On mobile or service portal UI, the space is filled by my other items. This method cannot hide mandatory fields with no value. Okay, so, and I think setDisplay is the same way. It goes, hey, wait a minute, it's mandatory. You can't hide something mandatory. That's very cruel and unusual. You can't make mandatory fields read only either. So check that out. That's the main difference. What could be the reason if setDisplay is not working, but setVisible is working? I don't know that there's technically any difference to those. Check your console log, see if there's something going on there. So turn on the browser's console log in Chrome. That would be View, Developer, Developer Tools, and you get a handy dandy little log over on the side that will tell you if something is blowing up in your face. I use this all the time with Service Portal. Very, very handy. Take a look at that. That may shed a little light on client script issues. So with that, I know that wasn't an official post, but I'm going to forget if I don't put a note in there. Let's do setVisible versus setDisplay. There. Got to remember it so I can get it in later. Want to make sure that we remember what we talked about. And on that note, I am going to... That was fun. Need a sound effect for that. Thank you all for joining me. Hope you had a wonderful week. Hope you have a great weekend. And congratulations once again to our community MVPs and our developer MVPs on such hard work. And we look forward to seeing you at Knowledge. Woo! All right. With that, I wish you all the best and have a great weekend. Take care. Bye, everybody.